So this is video 56, and I tried to find some topic that I can talk about for a long period of time, as I did with my previous videos, but right now I can't find this topic because I didn't do specific texts. I just try to find the best way to learn new vocabulary for the next month, for example. And right now I think that the vocabulary that I need covers the specific everyday vocabulary, like crime stuff, medicine, banks and economics, and some science stuff like elements of the periodic table. Of course, there are lots of verbs, adjectives, nouns, for example, about the mood and how we can describe different states when we are in different mood. For example, right now I have one Russian word and I can't find the word for this verb in my English active vocabulary. I can describe this word in English like kind of upset, but that's not it. It's like when a guy invited a girl. A guy dates a girl for a long period of time, maybe for a year, and then she has her birthday, but he completely forgot about this stuff. He never remembered that this particular day was her birthday, and he didn't give her any presents for her birthday. So she feels this way towards him. She towards him or about him because he forgot her birthday, and she thought that it's very important event of her life, and he, as her boyfriend, had to remember this particular date. So I can't find the right word for this right now. So this shows that I need lots of basic vocabulary to cover this different aspects of my life, but really I can't find the topic that will cover all this vocabulary like together, so that I can learn this stuff in the connected text. Because, for example, when I try to go through headway vocabulary, it's not really connected in terms of individual words given in the dictionary for each lesson. Well, this was somehow I used throughout the lesson, but if I try to read through these words, my brain can't find the connections between them. I think there is this Oxford Learner Dictionary and Cambridge and other stuff, when they have the some cloud of topics where this particular word can be used together with different words. And if I translate this обиделся word into English, I can then I can find the words that relate to this word, because they all belong to some particular topic, and then I can learn these words. But in any case, they all will be given for me as an individual words, and I need to find the examples of these words, the sentences. And again, the sentences will be individual. So for each particular word, I will have one individual sentence. What I want to say is that I have these 4 topics that I mentioned earlier. For example, the crime topic. It, in my opinion, it covers the stuff like, let's say, some murder was committed somewhere in some house, and then police came, they investigated this place, they collected the clues, they observe the corpse of the victim, they try to identify the victim, then they ask the neighbors, they look for witnesses, and then witnesses can give them some information about whom they saw about this particular area, this neighborhood, when the murder was committed. Then police identifies the personalities of these people who were observed by the witnesses, and those who have no alibi, or those who have the past somehow connected to the prison, to the violation of the law. These people are interrogated in the police station. The detectives try to find the motives of this killing, and connect these motives to this potential suspects. And then if they discover that one particular person can be the real murderer, because he or she has the motive, has no alibi, and he or she was observed by the witnesses in this neighborhood at this particular time, then the police, the detectives put the person through the trial with the jury, and there will be a prosecutor and the attorney and the jury and the judge and all the stuff. And then if the jury decided that the person is guilty, then this person is put to the jail, where he or she serves his something, his time, yeah, being in the prison. Yeah. Sometimes the person can be executed by the use of the electrical chair, like the electrified, or the person can be kind of sentenced to death by hanging, and it will be the death sentence. Sometimes the person will be acquitted after some time spent in prison, because the investigators will find some lost information that proves that will prove that the person is not guilty, is innocent. Well, basically I described the whole process of investigating one particular crime and putting the murderer into the jail. But I need lots of additional words, nouns, adjectives, verbs to describe this generalized process. And I think that this particular area is quite general in our everyday life, because, for example, through my childhood I watched lots of TV, state TV, that was aired on the state channels, and one of the topics was the criminal news, like someone killed another person, or someone robbed the bank, stole something from the house, or had a car accident and so on. Then the police somehow apprehended this person, and after the trial the person was put to serve his or her sentence. Yeah, and well, I heard this stuff almost every day after the main block of the news. Yeah, I think like after the main block of the news, of general news around the world, around the country, they have this 10 minutes thing, like Zone X, where they told about all the criminal activities for the last week, for example, in just 10 minutes. And then there was a half an hour of weather forecast for the week. And because I waited for this weather forecast, I switched on this particular TV channel earlier than the weather forecast began. So while as I waited for the weather forecast to start, I watched this news about some criminal activity in the country. So yeah, I heard a lot of this stuff. And again, there was this TV show when they played the real court cases, but these were civil cases, when the guy who wanted something from another guy, yeah, and the other guy who didn't agree with the first guy, and they had some particular names in Russian court court law, court business. So because I watched these TV shows like every day for half an hour, I learned this particular vocabulary in Russian. Well, it's very popular because in many serious movies, not science fiction movies, but the movies with some criminal stuff, when in the end police police catches the culprit and then puts him or her in front of the jury. All these terms are expressed, yeah, and in general I need to know this stuff because it's really our everyday life, and there are lots of news in newspapers where they discuss these particular elements of the court processes for criminal cases and for civil cases. And of course the third case, when I heard lots of this criminal law vocabulary, it was the TV series created on NTV channel. It was called Следствие вели, and the narrator, the host, was Leonid Kanevsky, and the editors, found some cases of serial killers or just some criminals during the history of the Soviet Union, the key cases that existed in 1950s and 60s and that were hidden from the public because it was believed that in the Soviet Union there was no crime, because all the people were the socialists and they strived to be the communists, and the communists would have no crimes compared to this capitalistic America and Europe and other countries. That's why there was always the police, but what the police investigated was always the secret, yeah. And because now the Soviet Union does not exist anymore, some of these cases are quite available for the public. So the creators of this TV series, they took some interesting criminal cases and they spent the whole hour making some play of these cases with the actors who played the murderer, the culprit, and the victims. And Leonid Kanevsky narrated what happened in this particular case, how the police tried to find the culprit, how they succeeded, and other stuff. I think that all the cases were successful, so they didn't they didn't played the cases that were that remained unsolved. Only the cases where the murderer was apprehended and then put to the justice, maybe put to the jail for a long period of time, or set for the death penalty through the, I don't know, shooting, or what is the correct word for this process. Anyway, through these stories, I learned lots of vocabulary that is used in this part of our life. Yeah, and this part of our life is more is closer to us than the part about fundamental physics, mathematics, chemistry, and other stuff with all these formulas, laws, and so on. Because, you know, in these TV shows, in these newspapers, they don't talk about the particular, I don't know, maybe articles that are used to say that the person is guilty from this book of laws, book of articles, but they just discuss the general stuff. And even, yeah, in America there are such TV series like Law and Order and other stuff, when the police, detectives, investigators, they go through all this procedure from the beginning, when they investigate the case to the moment when they catch the culprit, and then they put it through the court this event, court meeting, until the culprit gets into the jail. Yeah, I didn't watch this TV series, but I'm sure they have the same vocabulary, like prosecutor, attorney, and the words for the suspect, like defendant and other stuff. So this is the first topic I think I need to expand my vocabulary in. And the second topic is, of course, the medicine. It's more like biology, about people, not about animals or plants, because even plants have different parts of the flower, for example, and I don't know this particular parts of the plant, but medicine is necessary stuff, because you need to attend, to visit hospitals wherever you live, and to communicate with the doctor, to understand him or she or her, and to describe your state, your condition to the doctor. You need to know this basic vocabulary. It's not about going into the names of all the medicine or into the specific terms of something. It's like just all the organs of the average person, like kidney, lungs. Then something that can happen to this stuff, like itching or aching or something, pinch the nerve. Yeah, this go through the blood analysis and other stuff. And basically I know this vocabulary from the movies, from different medical movies, I think, but in English. But I never practiced this stuff. talking about it. So if I have this, then all these words are in my passive vocabulary, and again I need to take them out and use them in my monologues and to make this vocabulary active. So this is the second part. The first one is the general knowledge of the crime. The second area is the general knowledge of the medicine and the health and the body of a human body, the human body. The third part is about economics, like supply and demand and other stuff that I can hear and read in the newspapers or on some economical TV or YouTube channels. And of course the stuff like going to the bank, withdrawing your money from the bank, or making a deposit. All the stuff is really useful because you do this all the time with your money throughout your life. And the fourth area that is worth to learn and to expand my vocabulary in it for now. It's the area about the practical, applicable application, physics, mathematics, chemistry, all the stuff. For example, when I learned the chemistry at school, for me it was always the set of letters, formulas on the blackboard or in the textbook. I really never had any experience of putting two chemical substances together, mixing them and getting some reactions. Everything was described in words in the textbook, or was just presented in the form of different formulas. So it's like, for example, organic compounds for me are just these pictures of six molecules compound drawn on the list of paper, on the sheet of paper, like something like some circle, with circle and nothing more, and the formula. So I remember some names, but I don't know how these names are used in the real life. And actually I never met these names in the real life, but now I found the particular books, like the books of the elements of the periodic table, and this book has no formulas at all, but it has the pictures of the things where these elements can be used, and these pictures, these photos, are given for each element through the periodic table. And at the bottom of each page there is a couple of paragraphs that describe the pictures that are given on this page. Like, for example, for nitrogen, there are different applications, like nitroglycerin, or trinitro toluene, like the explosive substance. Nitroglycerin is the substance to help your heart when you have some very severe problem with your heart. And in general, nitrogen is the gas that has its molecule, and this molecule fills 80% of the air where we exist, where the air that we breathe in and out. And of course, nitrogen is used to create fertilizers. So, they gave the photos of this bomb stuff, which is called trinitro toluene or something. Then they gave the photo of the bottle of nitroglycerin, and the small plane that flies over the fields, and it pours the liquid fertilizers or some stuff of fertilizers over the field. So it's really visual friendly, and it's easy to remember the functions or cases where you can find the application of this particular element through your life because you watched the pictures. It's really, really interesting, and because I learned this stuff in English, it's like learning something new and interesting, and expanding my vocabulary on those words, those terms that I used for these particular applications. For example, an interesting application of phosphorus is these stripes on the sides of the matchbox. And when we use the match and rub it along this phosphorus stripe of the matchbox, because of the friction between the match and the stripe, the heat is created, and then the match starts to burn. So, I didn't know that these match boxes contain any phosphorus in it. Well, it doesn't really change my life, but this is really pure knowledge by itself, and it's not about all these logarithms in mathematics, but it's about the stuff that, I needed to know by this moment, because it's from my everyday life, but I didn't have this information before, so I can learn it now in English, and this makes it many times better. It's like the moment from the Big Bang Theory, when Penny decided to make her own business and to create this Penny Blossom stuff, small flowers that she attached to some pins or something, and she put these pins into her hair to keep the hair in order, and this penny blossom and these flowers, artificial flowers on these pins were quite beautiful, and the guys helped her to organize the whole process. Like Lynette created the website to where the potential customers could order these penny blossoms, and then the guys strategized how to produce it with the best quality, but by the lowest price, for example, with the lowest cost for them. And Sheldon gave the idea to put the Bluetooth to this stuff. And when Penny asked why she needed Bluetooth, he answered that everything was better with Bluetooth. So I can quote Sheldon in this particular case, and I can say that every knowledge is better with Bluetooth. That's cool when I get refresh some knowledge, like with this crime process, that I know, like in its basics in Russian, but I don't know a word in English. And with these chemical elements, really I don't know. I neither know the names of the elements or compounds, nor I know the names of know the elements, maybe know the names of the application for these elements. And it really will be cool to learn this stuff and to improve my English at the same time, in parallel, simultaneously. So, and yeah, there are some other areas from the science domain that I can use in my everyday life. For example, for physics, it can be the electricity, and it's not about the fundamental physics like the formulas, but about the terms like the voltage, the current in the wires, or the resistance of the conductor, because basically all the stuff when we switch on the light or to turn on the switcher, then some contacts start to touch each other, and the wire, the connected wire is created, and then the current runs through this wire, and this current makes the light bulb give us a light. So this is basically more radio electronic stuff. Yeah, and because we in the contact with the stuff on our daily basis, I need to know the vocabulary for this stuff. Yeah, it's like when I need to call the electric at home and to describe him the problem that I've got with my electricity, I need to know the vocabulary to explain the problem to him, and then to understand what when he wants to get some details about my particular problem. So right now I'm going to learn this vocabulary, and it will be quite interesting. And maybe if I got some interesting topics, not very interesting, just general topics about which I can talk for, as I said in the previous videos, for 50 minutes or so, then I will use these topics to practice my vocabulary through these monologues. Yeah, so I talked about 40 minutes right now, and in the end I'm not going to start any new topics because I don't want to talk for the next 10 or 15 minutes. I would better put this material into my next videos. But for the elements, I can remember some cases when I met the names of the elements through my reading or listening to some English sources, and nitrogen was quite a popular word for this atom, and of course oxygen, O2, and carbon dioxide, CO2, and yeah, all these three gases, nitrogen N2, oxygen O2, and carbon dioxide CO2, they compose about 99% of the whole atmosphere that we have and that we breathe in and breathe out. So it's only natural to know the names of this stuff. And there are some elements that I heard about while listening to some TV series, but because I didn't know the particular names of the elements, and they are not like correspond. Okay, they do not correspond to the Latin names. And in Russian we had this problem with chemical elements, like for example, nitrogen is Russian azot, and really there is no connection between the name and the Latin writing for this name. But in English it's obvious that nitrogen is the element that starts with N. But for K, which is potassium, there is no such connection. And but in Russian, potassium is kali, and it starts with K, and it's almost the Latin name for this element. An interesting moment that I heard this particular term, potassium, in the Bleach anime, when it was the first season of Bleach that lasted for almost 10, maybe 12 years, non-stop. They created a new episode each week, and they added this funny half a minute or a minute situation in the end of the episode. So when there were battles between good guys and bad guys, and these battles lasted for half a year or even the year, many characters of this manga, of this anime, were almost forgotten because they didn't participate in these particular battles. They stayed somehow aside, yeah. And the creators of this anime, they put these characters into these side stories in the end, so that the viewers did not forget these characters. Yeah, and the situation were quite funny. They were not connected to the events that happened during the basic events in the series. So in some particular moment, in some particular this funny story, in some particular funny story, all the women from the Soul Society gathered together because they wanted to to discuss some problems, some funny stuff. And there was this Byakuya Kuchiki guy, the captain of some squad, maybe the second or so, and he attended this all-women meeting. He was asked why he came, and he answered that I think Rukia Kuchiki, who was his sister and who had to participate in this meeting, she was absent for some reasons according to the basic events in the anime, and he was her replacement, her substitution, so he could discuss the ideas with other girls on her behalf. They admitted that it was a clever decision, and then he proposed for every person to eat bananas, because he said that bananas contained a lot amount of potassium, and potassium was useful for the health. So this is where I really heard the word potassium on daily basis. Yeah, on daily basis. So I wanted to learn the basic names of the basic elements that can be used through everyday talk, without these difficult elements that you can only find in some books with lots of formulas and other stuff, but really on everyday basis, like sodium. I don't know what is sodium, how it is written, or iodine, which is the stuff, the iodine solution is used very often to disinfect the small wounds with it, to prevent some inflammation or some viruses, some bacteria to get into these small scratches or other type of wounds. So it will be cool to know this stuff in English and to speak about it, like, for example, talk about all the elements that I can use through my everyday life, or about the usage of one particular element through different applications in the everyday life in general, not only in my life, but how this element can be used throughout the planet. So this is the fourth area that I want to explore, and it will be quite interesting for me. The main advantage of this type of learning, it's like I go to the classes again where we have the information on some particular subject like physics, chemistry, economy, geography, and through the year we have 2 or 3 classes each week, and we used this specific vocabulary again and again until it sunk into my mind. And right now I'm going to got the basic vocabulary from these areas that can be used in everyday conversations and activated in my mind. It's like right now I can talk on basic right now I can express almost every topic. Sometimes I have the right words, sometimes I will use the synonyms, or sometimes I will describe the event, the subject, the feature. I will give the definitions, the use cases for this stuff. Yeah. Basically I can describe anything, but every talk always use some proper names for the politicians, actors, sportsmen, historical personalities, other proper names like geographical locations, countries, rivers, islands. Then this kind of specific but basic vocabulary from ancient Greece mythology, Zeus, Heracles, Hera, and other stuff, and as I said, physics, chemistry, and mathematics. And we can't avoid all this stuff if we want to speak naturally, to express our thoughts naturally, because all our thoughts in our native language were created with the help of these proper names. For example, lots of scientists, lots of philosophers, painters, different historical figures, all of this we need to be able to pronounce correctly, like Jesus or Caesar, because there are lots of small stories that involve these persons, like Caesar, the Rome Emperor, Julius Caesar, the Rome Emperor, said Veni Vidi Vici, yeah, or something like I crossed the Rubicon, and to make this story full, I need to be able to pronounce his name and surname correctly, like Julius Caesar, because in Russian we pronounce his surname absolutely in different manner, like with Jesus and other stuff. So Galileo, Newton. So I need to learn the names of these people as well. Yeah. So I have more than 50 minutes of talking, and that's all for today. This is the end of the vlog 56.